So now you may start recording. And good morning, everyone. Today is December 20th, 2023, and this is the morning session of the Portland City Council meeting. Keelan, would you please call the roll?
Morning. Maps.
Here.
Camille.
Here.
Ryan.
Here.
Gonzalez.
Here.
Wheeler.
All right, so now we will hear from the city attorney.
Good morning. Welcome to the Portland City Council. To testify before council in person or virtually, you must sign up in advance on the council agenda at www.portland.gov/council/agenda. Information on engaging with city council can be found on the council clerk's webpage. The presiding officer preserves order and decorum during city council meetings. The presiding officer determines the length of testimony. Individuals generally have 3 minutes to testify unless otherwise stated. The timer will indicate when your time is done. Disruptive conduct such as shouting, refusing to conclude your testimony when your time is up, or interrupting others' testimony or council deliberations will not be allowed. If you cause a disruption, a warning will be given. Further disruption will result in ejection from the meeting. Anyone who fails to leave once ejected is subject to arrest for trespass. Additionally, council may take a short recess. Your testimony today should address the matter being considered. When testifying, state your name for the record. Your address is not necessary. Disclose if you are a lobbyist, and if you're representing an organization, please identify it. For testifiers joining virtually, please unmute yourself once the council clerk calls your name. Thank you.
Thank you, Naomi. So first up is communication. So Keelan, would you please call number 1053?
Request of Melissa Kostelecki to address council regarding removal of bike infrastructure designed for safety.
Morning.
Thank you. Commissioners, thank you for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Melissa Kostelecki, and I'd like to start off by noting that I don't identify as a cyclist in the cultural sense of the word any more than I would consider myself a toothbrushing enthusiast, simply because it's something I do a couple times a day as a need. I'm passionate about biking because its potential for mitigating carbon emissions, but it just so happens to also be a more affordable form of transportation, one with vast health benefits, and let's face it, much more enjoyable than sitting in traffic and searching for parking. I initially wanted to speak to you today about recent removals of bike lanes, both proposed and implemented, but I'm sure you've heard an earful already, so I'm going to pivot away from safety concerns and instead point out what we stand to gain by hardening and significantly expanding our bike network. Last week, you heard a presentation from Travel Portland about how to bring tourists back and the need to reverse our tarnished reputation as an unsafe city. Mayor Wheeler noted that cities with good tourism have some unique aspect: cruise ships in Seattle, sports venues in Las Vegas. I'd like to challenge City Council to define our unique selling point and at the same time improve safety by expanding on a mission we started roughly 20 years ago, but never really completed: to make Portland the city where people move on foot, bike, and public transit and interact on the street. As Megan Conway noted, people want to come here and experience Portland like the locals do. The problem is that too many of the locals are now hidden away in metal and glass, hurrying by at 40 miles an hour. We've suffered a vicious cycle lately. As the pandemic pushed people indoors and emptied out the streets, crime and unsafe driving filled the void, further disincentivizing people from experiencing the city outside their own cars. A few recent studies indicate that biking has, quote, a wider impact on cities as tourism destinations by transforming places and slowing down urban routes, i.e. influencing the dynamics of cities as lived space, end quote. And I'm happy to provide those studies on request. Other cities are racing ahead of us on building out their bike networks, and we've already lost our place as America's bike and transit city. Turning this around would help Portland attract conventions aimed at companies and industries looking to tout their green efforts by making our city synonymous with sustainability. You may wonder what that looks like. Portland continues to improve its bike facilities, and for that, I'm grateful. But the roads still feel unsafe, and the data backs me up. This problem gets in our way of standing out as a unique American city worth visiting. So I encourage you to think bigger. Recently, a team of planners, including a former BPS employee, drafted a plan for an urban trail network. I highly encourage you to take a look for yourselves, but to sum it up, the network entails a system of fully protected bike lanes that would link our outer trails and greenways with key downtown and neighborhood destinations within the city. This safer, more attractive infrastructure would get Portlanders out in the open air, interacting with one another, looking out for one another, and create a safe, welcoming space for visitors to interact with locals. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you. Next item.